Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing merge intervals, and as you see, it's a medium difficulty problem. And so let's look at the description. Given an array of intervals where intervals at I is equal to the start and end value, okay? So it's equal to another array that has two values. We're going to merge all overlapping intervals and return an array of the non-overlapping intervals that cover all the intervals in the input. Okay? So if we look at this, our first intuition is that, hey, the example shows intervals being 1, 3, 2, 6, 8, 10, 15, 18. Okay, these guys are sorted. Let's look at the second example. 1, 4, 4, 5, sorted. Okay, but unless it actually explicitly says that this is sorted for you, we cannot assume that it is sorted. Okay, so don't get caught, don't fall into that trap where you're just assuming information, because this is going to be really bad in an interview as well, because they're going to be like, oh, they just jump into action without really thinking about how they're going to solve the problem. I've sat through many interviews and conducted some interviews, and whenever a candidate doesn't ask clarifying questions, that's a huge red flag. Okay, so you want them to take a moment to consider, all the edge cases or the conditions that are not explicitly stated. So that's a huge one. Okay, and so a lot of Leetcode problems. Many of them are not sorted, and so what you'll have to do is sort the problem set first, and then the optimal solution will follow. There's almost no way you can get there is no optimal way you can get no optimal solution without sorting this array first. At least I cannot think of one. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is sort this array. And then once we have sorted this array, then we can start to get to work. Now, if you watch the previous insert interval, the intuition is not very different, okay? So let's go ahead and look at this example. So the first thing that we're going to do is we know that we need a new array. So we're going to create a new array, but we're not going to need any kind of like high and low value variables. All we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to loop through the values, okay? And then the first condition, let's go ahead and get this. The first condition is, let's see here. The first condition is if merged dot size is equal to 0. Okay, so if this is true, or whatever, so this means that we have nothing on our return array. Okay. So what we want to do is then check. So if we have nothing on our array, we can just go ahead and throw the first value down. But if we do have something on our array, what we want to do is we want to check the last element in our array. So we're going to check this value right here, the high value, against the low value of our current thing. So we want to see, well, if this high value is less than this, if this high value is less than this low value, then we're just going to add it. Okay, So if it's less, we're going to add. So here we just go ahead and throw that down into our array. But what we do now, so if that is less, then we do that. But if it's not, then we need to do something else. So we do not throw this on the array, on the new array, because this high value is actually greater than this low value. So these can actually, they're overlapping, so they should be merged. And so if they are overlapping, what we're going to do is we're going to go onto our current array, which is merged, and we're going to get the last element, okay? And so we're going to call our get method for our array list, and we're going to get our last element, which is, it's going to be size minus 1. Okay, so that's going to get our last element in our array, and we want the largest element, largest value within that element, and so that's going to be on the first index. And so we want to be able to change this value. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to look at this 3, because this is the last value on the index. So we're going to look at that 3, and we're going to say, well, what is the maximum value between this one and this one? Okay. And so we're going to take the maximum value between these two, and basically that's going to merge them, because instead of going from 1 to 3, it's actually going to go to 1 to 6. Okay. So we're going to take and then we're going to get max is going to equal to the max of 2 we look at. The 2 larger values. Okay. And then that's basically it. So it's either going to be this condition if the size is equal to 0, or the high value of the current last element. In our case, it would be 1, 3. If the high value is less than the low value of what we're looking at. If this is less than this value, we're just going to add. Otherwise, we're going to go here. Now, let's go to over here. We're going to be looking at, let's look at what happens here. Well, we're going to go here, and it says, well, if the high value here is less than this, we're just going to add, okay? So it satisfies all conditions, all right? And so this is going to eventually get us to a merged set, an array. So the biggest thing is we just need to look at the maximum between this, when this is greater than this, we then take the maximum between the 2 last numbers of our inner array, okay? And that basically merges them, okay? We don't add anything here. We just change that last value. We merge that get is equal to the max of the 2, okay? So let's go ahead and code this out. So right here, like I said, we're going to need to sort them. Now, there's some clever ways of sorting, and honestly, like when I first started Leetcode, I did not understand all the ins and outs of arrays.sort, and so using comparators and stuff like that. And so, this is just something that you learn. And so most college graduates, if they don't actually do Leetcode, they're not going to be prepared for these types of interviews, because this is not something that you really encounter like in your day-to-day coursework. Okay, so integer.compare, and we're going to compare them on their first value. So A at 0 and B at 0. And so that's going to sort our array. And then we're going to create this new list. This is going to be called merged. And it's going to be a new array list. Okay, and then we're going to loop through our intervals array. Okay, so just do a for each loop. So here for each int array called interval within our list of intervals, what we want to do is that first condition says if merge.size is equal to 0. Okay? If this is true, or merge.get so if the last element of our array and the highest value within that last element is less than the first value within the element we are currently looking at within our loop. All right. So if that's true, what we want to do is we want to just go ahead and add it to our array. Merge.add. And we're going to add it at the interval we're currently at. Okay. Pretty simple. And then we're going to have our else statement. And this is going to just say, well, if this isn't true, it's going to be a merge. And so to merge it, we are just going to take the maximum value of the two last and largest values within our arrays that we're looking at. And we're going to take that value and make the last value of the last element within our merged array. We're going to make it that value. Okay, so how do we say that? We're going to say merged.get merge.size -1. And then we're going to take the last and largest value within that item, and we're going to assign it the maximum value between this right here. So it's going to be this right here. And I guess I can go ahead and make this. Guess not. But anyways, and the largest value within interval itself. Okay, and so that's going to change that last value. And then just like we did in the previous example, we're going to return that array list as an array. And we're going to do that by saying return merged.to array. Okay. And so that's basically it. Let's go ahead and run our code. Let's see, make sure it works. Okay. New int. Didn't put a space here. So this is going to be line 16. Yeah. New int. And, oh, here's the issue. Okay. So that should be good. All right, incompatible types, Boolean cannot be converted to int. Let's go ahead and see this. If merged.size is equal to 0, or merged.get, merged.size -1 at 1 is less than interval at 0, okay? Oh, 2 minutes. So when it added that, then so that is the. Okay. And so we see that that works. Let's go ahead and submit it, see where we stand. So runtime was 20 milliseconds, 11.3% better. But if we ran this a few times, that value is going to change. 11% to 69%. If we ran it a few more times, we would get some different values. So you can never really trust these. But we do know that this is going to be, let's see here. We create this new array. We're looping through the array. So this is going to be the same as our, insert interval, in that it's, let's see here. It's going to be, yeah. So it's the time complexity is going to be O of n, and the memory complexity is going to be O of n as well. And so that is going to be basically it. This is the second medium size problem or difficulty problem that we're going to do, but we want to do all grind 75 problems. These are just ones that I have videos on so far. But we're going to do all these together, and we're going to get interview ready together by the end of summer. Okay. And so that may be that by the end of summer, we may do more than 75, but it is my goal to get to a tier 1 company within the next 4 or so months. Okay. So join me on that ride if you like. And I would be happy if you followed along, because when I explain it to other people, it helps me internalize it better. So, and that's, I'm a former teacher. I'm currently a software engineer, but as a teacher, I learned so much by teaching. Not only did I have to learn the stuff that I was going to teach, I really learned it because I internalized it, because in order to teach it, you have to understand it. You have to truly understand it. It's one thing to just regurgitate something from a book, but it's another thing to actually explain something. And so hopefully you're finding that explanation useful. If this was helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe. But otherwise, I will go ahead and see you in the next video.